Direct News TV. March 17, 2024. Israel's war on Gaza live, children, women killed in Deir el Balah attack. Israeli attacks on Deir el Balah in central Gaza killed at least 12 people and wounded many more, including children, according to videos and witnesses. 13 aid trucks arrived safely in Jabalia and Gaza City, marking the first convoys to travel from the south to the north of the Gaza Strip without incident in 4 months. Germany's Scholz say Rafah assault would make regional peace very difficult. The large number of civilian casualties that could result from an Israeli assault on Rafah would make regional peace very difficult, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said after talks with Jordan's King Abdullah. A long-lasting ceasefire would enable us to prevent such a ground offensive from taking place, he said. Asked if he was prepared to exert pressure on Netanyahu to stop such an assault, Scholz said it was very clear we must do everything so the situation does not get worse than it already is. Israel has every right to protect itself. At the same time, it cannot be that those in Gaza who fled to Rafah are directly threatened by whatever military actions and operations are undertaken there, he said. Flour being distributed after 6 aid trucks arrive in northern Gaza. Gaza's civil defense spokesman, Mahmoud Basil, spoke to Al Jazeera about the entry of aid trucks into northern Gaza. Here are the main points from his interview. 6 trucks arrived in northern Gaza and have been secured at UNRWA centers. The distribution of bags of flour has begun, but they are not enough for Gaza City and the north. We expect aid to enter every day, but the Israeli forces' measures hinder this. Those who distribute aid are members of some known families and tribes. More than 400 people have been killed while waiting for aid in the Gaza Strip. Israeli pattern of targeting families inside residential homes. We've been seeing this pattern of attacks by Israel in the past weeks where it targets entire families inside homes they've been sheltering in. There have been a lot of confrontations in the central area, namely Deir el Balah, the refugee camps and the western parts of the central area. Those injured do not get the necessary treatment and the medical intervention required to save their lives as they come with shrapnel that fractures their bones or makes them bleed severely. The aftermath of these attacks is the fact that many people are becoming internally displaced as the kind of bombs that are being used also cause damage to the surrounding area. This causes further mounting misery and miserable conditions. Netanyahu criticizes Israel's allies for a short memory. PM Netanyahu says Israel's allies have a short memory regarding Hamas's October 7 attack, and that Israel would push on with its Rafah offensive despite growing international pressure. To our friends in the international community I say, is your memory so short? So quickly you forgot about October 7, the worst massacre committed against Jews since the Holocaust. Netanyahu said at the start of his cabinet meeting. So quickly you are ready to deny Israel the right to defend itself against the monsters of Hamas. Netanyahu reiterated that Israel would push on with its offensive in Gaza, including in the city of Rafah. Since October 7, at least 31,645 Palestinians have been killed and 73,676 injured in Israeli attacks on Gaza. The revised death toll in Israel from Hamas's October 7 attack stands at 1,139 with dozens taken captive. Rights advocates sound alarm over Israeli torture of Palestinian detainees. Israeli rights groups have called for international action over Israeli abuse and torture of Palestinian detainees, saying the situation amounted to a crisis. Tal Steiner, the executive director of the Public Committee Against Torture in Israel, PCATI, told AFP news agency that 9 people had allegedly died behind bars since October 7. And there are almost 10,000 Palestinians in Israeli custody right now, a 200% increase from any normal year, she said. Miriam Azam, of the Adala Legal Center, said that her organization had managed to document 19 clear cases of torture within the Israeli prison system since October 7, including sexual violence. "We're seeing really widespread and systemic use of many tools in order to inflict torture and ill treatment on Palestinians," she said, adding that the situation requires the immediate intervention of the international community. Amnesty calls on Biden to demand Gaza ceasefire, stop arms transfers to Israel. Amnesty International has reminded President Biden that Israel used US-made munitions to kill many of more than 30,000 people in Gaza. In a post on X, the rights group called on Biden to demand a ceasefire and stop the transfers of arms to Israel. US is complicit in Israeli genocide. Columbia University's Jeffrey Sachs says the war in Gaza could end today if the US stopped supplying weapons to Israel. Does the US want to be complicit in genocide? Columbia University professor Jeffrey Sachs argues that this is the question US leaders should be asking themselves as Israel's war on Gaza continues. Sachs adds that Israel could not continue for one day without US support, and the rhetoric from top Democrats criticizing Netanyahu is meaningless because no action is taken to stop the war crimes. This has led to US isolation on the world stage, as Israel is allowed to continue whatever they have in their minds, which will never lead to peace. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.